What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on first take, they're going to be talking about how Stephen A. Smith is happy that the Dallas Cowboys just lost to an 0-4 New York Jets team. So let's see what they have to say about that.
How much trouble are the Cowboys in?
Well, they're in a world of trouble. Let's be very, very clear about that, Max Kellerman. They're in a world of trouble. Because when you look at the NFC, you see how this works. If you're 3-3, you're a 500 team. Chances are, if this trend continues, and we have no reason to believe that it won't, the reality is that the NFC East playoff participant is going to have to be the winner of the division. There's not a wild card that's going to come out of there. Not when you're looking at Chicago, Detroit, and Green Bay in the north. Not when you're looking at New Orleans and Carolina in the south. Not when you're looking at Seattle, San Fran, and to a lesser degree, those reigning NFC champion Los Angeles Rams that don't really look like champions right now. Nevertheless, you got an abundance of teams out there in the NFC, and they're going to get in the Dallas Cowboys way or the Philadelphia Eagles. You're going to have to win the division to get out of the East.
So I think the Dallas Cowboys will have enough that they're going to win the NFC East and they'll beat the Philadelphia Eagles. But it doesn't look too good right now, but they're sitting at 500. I think they still have enough time to pull it off. So let's continue.
I want to say this about the Dallas Cowboys and why they're going to get in trouble. I was reading an article in the Dallas Morning News this morning, and one of their columnists, I believe accurately pointed out a huge problem on the part of Jason Garrett, and he labeled it as arrogance. Okay,
that Tim Cowlishaw?
I believe it's
my
Tim
guy Tim Cowlishaw.
I believe it's Tim Cowlishaw, but I'm not sure.
Around the horn days for me.
I'm not sure if he's the one that wrote the article. But here's the point that he was making: you've got second quarter, it's 4th and 2. At the 7-yard line, with a little over 4 minutes left in the half, Jason Garrett, knowing you got 2 tackles out of the game, knowing that your running game ain't great, knowing that Amari Cooper and Randall Cobb are not available to you, and your offense wasn't looking as stout as we're accustomed to seeing it look, you kick the field goal right there, and you're all right. What happens? He says, no, can do. I'm going to go for it on 4th and 2, and I'm going to call a quarterback sweep for Prescott. It fails. He gets swallowed. The very next play, Sam Darnold connects with Robbie Anderson for a 92-yard touchdown. That double move by Randy Anderson on a woozy. And as a result, the Jets go up 14-3. As we look back on it, had they kicked the field goal at that particular moment in time, guess what? Would have been a different ball game, because what did you need at the end? 2-point conversion. That's Jason Garrett. That's coaching. Once again, that's coaching, not stepping up to the plate and handling this business, which is why I have no problem with Jerry Jones taking that position. Dallas Cowboys in a world of trouble right now, and I can't say that I'm upset about it.
Dallas Cowboys are in some...
So I definitely agree with Stephen A. Smith on this one. Jason Garrett's definitely got to go. I mean, that play calling is absolutely childish type of quarterback playing Pop Warner type play calling. It just doesn't make sense. It's zero logic. And like I said in other videos, his play calling is so bad that either the offensive coordinator or Dak Prescott need to reject the plays that he calls and run whatever play they see fit. I mean, I know that's going against what your boss is saying to do, but at some point, someone's going to have to take over, especially for Dak Prescott, because what Jason Garrett is doing is costing Dak Prescott $40 million, because Jerry Jones sees this and everybody else sees this. You lost to an 0-4 team and to a quarterback that's coming off having mono. I mean, I can't give you $40 million if you're going to be losing to a team that's 0-4 and a quarterback that's coming off of mono. I just can't do it. And now I'm not absolving Dak Prescott of all responsibility, but, Jason Garrett, that play calling is terrible. I mean, that's absolutely terrible and is killing the Dallas Cowboys. Fortunately, the Cowboys are sitting at 500 right now, 3-3, so I think they still have time to come through, but, I mean, why push it? Why push it? Something's got to change with Jason Garrett. So let's continue.
Trouble, but fortunately for them, the NFC East is so bad that they could still make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They're not going to do anything once they get there. Right. Maybe if it matches up a certain way, they can win a game. Maybe they can win 2 playoff games. They ain't winning the Super Bowl this year, even if everything falls their way.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I don't know about that, Max. How could you say that? How could you say they can't win the Super Bowl with the stacked team that they have, especially if everything goes their way? That just doesn't make sense. I think the main concern right now is they need to figure out how to help Jason Garrett and get some type of better play calling in there, or somebody that has more football knowledge, can use stronger, better football logic, because his play calling is just, I mean, his situational calling is just absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. But let's continue.
With Tim Cowlishaw's point was Tim Cowlishaw, and I want to address that for a second. He hears, Jason Garrett, the criticism from guys like me. No, from me, right? Coaches are such cowards in the NFL. It's unbelievable. They never go for it on fourth down, not nearly as much as they should because they're afraid about getting second-guessed. He hears, I've brought it up a million times, you have Ezekiel Elliott. You drafted him 4th overall. He's exceeded expectations. You're in midfield, and I mentioned this from last year, 1 yard. You're 4th and 1, and you punt. Right? That tells you everything I need to know about Jason Garrett. So here he is. He hears that kind of criticism. He's thinking, 4th and 2? I'm going to go for it, right? No, but it does depend on the circumstance. Here and there, you have to take it into consideration. I usually don't care. I'm not going to even kill him now. If you go for our 4th and 2, I usually like that. I'm not going to kill him now. But Tim Cowlishaw has a point. Pay attention to what's going on. Ezekiel Elliott just didn't do anything the last time he touched the ball. And the main thing is because your 2 tackles, your starting tackles who are all universe tackles, aren't there. And that's when you choose to be aggressive, right? When maybe you should think, let me take the points. Then you choose to be aggressive.
So what that points to is your coach he's not using football logic. He doesn't have his football IQ is not very high. Let's put it that way. He has a very low football IQ, and his situational calling is just absolute terrible. And it proves it right there when he makes those type of calls. Like I said, the offensive coordinator or Dak Prescott need to reject some of the calls that Jason Garrett sends in, or seriously question them, call an audible, because his situational calling is just absolutely terrible, absolutely terrible. And it's the type of thing that you would see when a head coach is applying for a job. You give that coach those type of situational play calls to see what type of calls he plays. I mean, or what type of call, what plays he calls. So you can see that he has some type of football IQ. So when you get in situations like that, because that can determine games, and it has for the Dallas Cowboys. So I don't know. Let's continue.
Cowboys are in some trouble in the sense that they should have a better record than they are right now and be more in control of their own destiny. They're not, mainly because of injury, but also because their head coach isn't good enough. And even when Jerry Jones talks about Dak, and we'll get into it later on, in the end, it's going to come down to a decision. Head coach or quarterback. They've isolated every other variable. They have everything else they need. I do not believe he will choose the head coach. So not only are the Cowboys in trouble, but Jason Garrett in particular is in a world of trouble.
Jason Garrett.
He should be in trouble. Why wouldn't he be in trouble? I mean, his football IQ is very, very low, and you can see it's written all over the field that he has zero football IQ. I don't even know how he's a head coach. But, and again, he's not just screwing over the Dallas Cowboys organization, the fans. He's screwing over Dak Prescott from getting a $40 million contract because his play calling lost the game for them for the most part. Again, I'm not absolving Dak Prescott. He does have some type of responsibility for this, but he's only running the plays that have been called and sent in to him. So, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. And definitely, Jason Garrett is the one piece that they definitely need to get rid of. And after that, I can see if they get a good coach in there that has a high football IQ, I don't see why the Dallas Cowboys can't win. I don't see why they can't make a strong run because they have everybody. They have receivers, they have running backs, they have decent defense. I mean, a quarterback. I mean, they have everything that they need. Some people may not like Dak, or he may not be a top 5 quarterback, but he's definitely good enough in their system to get the job done if they have a decent play calling head coach. So let's continue.
Will be gone at the end of this season, barring a miracle, meaning barring if they make the playoffs and make a run in the playoffs. Jason Garrett will be gone. He will not last. If this team is not successful this year, Jason Garrett won't be back as the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. That's number one. Number two, I think Dak Prescott, we'll have a conversation about him later. It'll cost him some money. Number three, I forgot who we was showing that video of the guy on Dallas, the defensive side of the ball, that said we beat ourselves. Well, isn't that what I always say? That black cat running around that franchise. Then how many times have I had to say to all of y'all's, just wait. Take your time.
All right.
Don't rush it. They will not let you down. What can go wrong will go wrong. And we're seeing it I must say I'm disappointed. I think we're seeing it earlier than I anticipated. I would have liked to have waited later. I would have liked to have waited later because it's modifying the expectations of Dallas Cowboy fans. And by the way, that's kind of, it's kind of massaging their misery to some degree. I want them here and plummeting around Christmas. I don't like the fact that it's happening this early.
All right.